Stan Arthur here for the I Love St. Pete Facebook group. If you're a business owner looking to connect with tens of thousands of potential new local customers, you owe it to yourself to get enrolled in our Key Tag Rewards program. Since 2019, we've signed up more than 200 local merchants. Sponsor opportunities are available too, such as our group banner ad and even your own custom key tags. Just go to stpetekeytag.com, get enrolled, and get ready to get busy. stpetekeytag.com.
Come to Sam Ash for hundreds of exclusive holiday deals on music and sound gear from the most iconic brands. Save big on professional and starter guitars, drums, digital pianos, horns, violins, DJ, and electronic production equipment. Supercharge your home studio with deals on podcasting, streaming, and AV equipment like speakers, microphones, headphones, and acoustic treatment. Plus, with 36 months no-interest financing on thousands of items, you can get the gear of your dreams right now. From our incredible selection and service to our lowest price guarantee for over 95 years, real musicians know you only go to Sam Ash.
BetUS.com. If you guys are betting on the games, whether it's NFL, NCAA, of course, you're not going to do that now. Maybe basketball, not football, but of course, the NHL, NBA, go to BetUS.com. You get a 125% sign-up bonus. And also, if you use this code right here, the promo code of TSW22, which, by the way, stands for the sports web, TSW22, or call that number 1-800-69-BET-US. Again, 1-800-69-BET-US, and put in that promo code TSW22, and I would really appreciate that.
I've had 27 beers spilled on me. Make that 28.
I've only got one place to go before the game.
BetUS.com.
Sign up at BetUS.com and get the best bonuses in the industry.
Merry Christmas. Say, I love football. Say this. Say Tampa. Bay. Bay. Tampa. Tampa. Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay. Say Tampa. Bay. Bay. Oh my God, she's so smart. Man, she's so precious. I love her to death.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another edition of the evolution of Sports Talk Television live here on I Love St. Pete and the Hub. It's the Sports Web special late edition. Let me just go ahead and explain this really quick. Got surprise from a friend. You know what? Let's go out to dinner really quick. And it went a little bit longer than it should have, but here I am on a Wednesday night. We're always on Monday and Wednesdays. We got Denis Phillips of ABC Action News getting you ready, talking about your Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tom Brady rumors. Of course, Richard Sherman had some interesting comments. We'll get to those. And, of course, getting you ready for Super Bowl 56 between the Cincinnati Bengals and LA Rams. How do we start off this show? Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. We're also trying to have Mark Mancini, the madman himself, Sirius XM Radio Mancini Media, on about 10:15. So let's get to it. Let's get the guy's intro on. Hopefully he has his headphones in so the studio doesn't hear it. Here we go. All right, That's ABC Action News meteorologist, Mr. Denis Phillips. Welcome to the evolution of sports talk television, my friend. And as I was saying, I kind of got surprised by a friend to dinner. Never been to a hibachi place before. It was great. Had to rush back here, lost track of time. But here we are, getting you ready for what has been not only Super Bowl 56 week, but also, once again, Tom Brady coming out with some comments saying, you never know, I may come back. Welcome to the evolution, my friend.
Where'd you go to dinner?
It's somewhere in Port Richey. I can't remember the name right now.
Did they do the little volcano thing for you?
Yes. Yeah, first time I've been there. I've never been, and like, I need to get out more because I'm always working. I'm always doing something. It seems like I'm always in my apartment. So he was like, you know what? We're going to take you out. Okay, cool. I'll go out. And then I look at the time and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to miss the show because I usually come on at 9:00. And of course I have you on and I asked you to come on today. But it was great. It was absolutely enjoyable. With that being said, what are your thoughts, Denis, on the Tom Brady stuff? Him on his podcast the other night saying, you never know, I may come back. I mean, is that door being left open now for the Bucs?
I mean, it could be open for anybody.
Right.
I mean, not necessarily the Bucs. I mean, there's always been those rumors that there were some folks saying, oh, he's going to come back for one game as a Patriot and retire as a Patriot. There's been some other talk. He might be going out west. Who knows? I mean, yeah, I find it hard to excuse me, I find it hard to believe. Still got COVID. No, I don't. It's over. I find it hard to believe that, in 6 months later that, that puts them into the middle of the preseason that, he's going to wait until then to decide. So, I think he was just being honest. Like, look, never say never. But does he really think that he's going to come back at this point? You got to think maybe not. That's the way I'm thinking about it. I think he's played his last snap as a Buck. I mean, a lot of folks have been saying he wasn't even planning on being in here in the first place. I mean, if and no one knows who that high-profile quarterback was that the Dolphins were talking about, but you have to wonder if it was Tom Brady. And, maybe the first choice was going to South Florida, not to Central Florida. I mean, who knows?
Well, who knows at this point? And the rumor was today, and it was, I think it was more of, look, it's Super Bowl week. We need to kind of create something. What if Tom Brady retired because he wanted to play for the San Francisco 49ers, which was first thought of? And then, of course, the 49ers, bet against that. They wanted to go with Jimmy Garoppolo. So people are kind of trying to put two and two together. I mean, do you think Brady would come out of retirement, not play for the Bucs? The Bucs would accommodate him by trading him to the 49ers and then getting a Jimmy Garoppolo, or does that seem like a pipe dream and far-fetched at this juncture?
I mean, Garoppolo's the number one. I mean, he's the odds-on favorite at 4-1 of being the next quarterback for the Bucs. Second choice is Carson Wentz. I believe third choice was Teddy Bridgewater, and fourth choice was Kyle Trask. So, I mean, it wouldn't surprise anybody. I think if Garoppolo ends up here, but it's one of those things that we can speculate till we're blue in the face. I mean, nobody has any idea. Nobody knows. And I would not hold your breath. I think he has played his last down as a Tampa Bay Buck, which is my opinion.
I think he has too, but you always leave that door open because, like he said, and he's so competitive. He's got those competitive juices going. And I think it goes back to what Michael Irvin was saying this week on the Rich Eisen show. He has to basically, work his way back into the home. He's not the boss of his home. And when his wife starts asking him to do this and that, he may look at her and say, you know what, maybe I want to be an NFL quarterback. But I just go back to Michael Jordan, right? I mean, he came out of retirement twice. He decided, I mean, that could be a situation. I just don't feel like the 49ers are a better team right now than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are loaded. Now, with that being said, I want to go out to Richard Sherman. He had some comments on his podcast, and he says he believes the Bucs will go championship quarterback. He says, I obviously think they have a championship window, so I think they're going to go with the championship quarterback. I don't know if they have the funds, the salary cap to really go after a guy like a top guy like Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson even, but I think they may be a route to explore. I don't think they want to go with a rookie or draft anybody and expect them to come in and really take them to the Super Bowl. So expect them to go the veteran route, whether it's through trade or free agency. Now, there's people in my family, Denis, that say, you know what, give Kyle Trask a chance. I'll just put it out there. My mother is fighting tooth and nail saying Kyle Trask. And what I say is, look, the Bucs have never been able to develop a young quarterback, right? I mean, it's all there. I'm not saying they can't do it. I'm not sure if he's ready to go. And like Sherman is saying, they feel like the championship window is open. So, Sherman, what do you take from this? Do you think he has some insight, or is he just speculating like we are on this show?
He's probably speculating. I mean, that's what everybody does, but I personally put more weight into Las Vegas than anything else.
Right.
And when they come out with odds, I think they probably have a reason, as opposed to just, throwing those things around for no reason. And, Garoppolo makes sense. He's a seasoned quarterback. He's not amazing, but he was behind Brady in New England, and, he's been serviceable. He had a bad thumb. He had a bad shoulder in San Francisco. So who knows? Maybe he comes along. Carson Wentz, I think, is still a really interesting quarterback, and he's gotten a lot of grief, justifiably, the last couple of years. After he got hurt and tore up his knee in Philly, he just fell apart. But boy, that first season that he had there was one of those ones that you just look and you say, man, is it possible to redevelop that guy and bring that guy back who had like 41 touchdowns and 3 picks in the entire season? It was some insane number. So I don't know. I mean, Garoppolo seems to be the the best pick. I don't think Kyle Trask is going to be the quarterback for the Bucs next year. And I said this to you last week. And I know nothing about scouting and scouting the young players. I mean, I leave that to the pros. And one of the pros who I've followed pretty religiously for several years, I told you this last week, Howard Cosell's nephew. And if anybody who's watching doesn't know of Howard Cosell, I mean, the guy was the original Monday Night Football guy. He really knew sports. Him and Muhammad Ali, that was the whole thing going on back in the 70s. And at the end of the day, his nephew, who is a scout, and that's what he does, said way before the draft last year that Trask is just not an NFL quarterback, at least not the kind of quarterback that you would put a team on his shoulders. He's got an average arm and he's not mobile. And in this day and age, now I get it, you're kind of describing Tom Brady to an extent, but how many Tom Bradys are there? I mean, there is that thing that he has or developed or whatever, and clearly it's happened once in a generation, so it isn't something, well, we'll train this guy to be Tom Brady. I just don't think it works that way.
We're on with Denis Phillips, ABC Action News meteorologist, and of course, sports broadcaster here on the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. Great broadcast the other night. How is the weather looking here in the next couple of days, of course, for Super Bowl Sunday?
By the way, notice I'm wearing my Rams blue tonight.
I see that.
Yeah, not that I'm not a Rams fan. I'm not a Bengals fan, and I'm certainly not a bandwagoner. But matter of fact, I'll tell you my story. I do not have a official favorite NFL team, and I'm a big fantasy guy, and I played from time to time, so that my favorite team might be the team of that week. But I grew up a Baltimore Colts fan, and when Baltimore moved to Indianapolis in a snowstorm on Mayflower Moving Company, I decided right then and there, one, I will never, ever use Mayflower Moving Company to ever move my family from point A to point B. And I lost my allegiance to a favorite team. I've lived here for 25, 30 years. Sure. Certainly follow and root for the Bucs, but they broke my heart. So, again, I'm not a bandwagoner, but everybody seems to be jumping on the Bengals bandwagon in the last week, and with good reason. They've been hot. They found a way to come back from 18 down against Kansas City. I just wonder if that magic wears off and the Rams find a way. They're a 4-point favorite, 4.5. They've been bet up from 2.5 to 3. And it makes me wonder if the Rams at home just find a way and the magic kind of runs out. I mean, think about Burrows. I mean, how often does a guy like him come out of nowhere and just win the whole thing? A lot of times you just fall short. And then that gives them some motivation for the following year to go even farther. So, I mean, I look at Josh Allen like that. And personally, I thought the Bills were the better team against Kansas City that day.
Sure.
Although honestly, neither defenses was a better team at that point. But I thought Josh Allen was going to be that guy this year. I really did. I thought the Bills were going to make it to the AFC Finals and win the AFC Finals and win the Super Bowl. So that was my pick. But I just, at this point, because everybody seems to be on Cincinnati, I like the Rams because I'm a contrarian when it comes to the public in terms of who they pick.
Well, I think, look, you have to like the Rams because the Rams have the components that make it work, right? They have great quarterback play in Matt Stafford. Not saying the Bengals don't with Joe Burrow, but also they have a defense, and that's the concerning thing for me. I'm not sure if the Bengals and that offensive line can protect Burrow, but if they can give him that protection with Chase and the outside weapons they have. And who knows, maybe they can run the ball and play some defense against that Rams offense. Maybe it could be a close game. Somebody put this comparison out there today. Joe Burrow to Joe Namath. Do you get that sense of, he's got that confidence, he's wearing the sunglasses, he's got the bling bling. Do you get that from him? I mean, he's a guy that's smoking a cigar after he wins a national championship. Would it be good for the NFL to see a Joe Burrow? Oh, and Denis is gone, so we'll have to get him back on. But I guess he lost his video feed there. So I tell you what, until he comes back on, let me throw the question out to you. Who do you think is going to win on Sunday? Very simple. And why are they going to win on Sunday? Will it be the Bengals? Will it be the Rams? 727-255-0391 at 727-255-0391. 0391. We're live here on I Love St. Pete and the Hub. It's the evolution of sports talk television. We're get interactive here. We take your phone calls and read your text messages. So let's hear it from you. I'm here to feed the troll. Roger Shue says, hit the like button, share, and super chat. Absolutely. Super chats are open. Donate money. I always read your comments anyway. I guess there's no incentive to donate. Yes, he did lose me. So hopefully Denis can get back on again. Let's go out to Roger Shue again. Yes, that's not going to happen. Thank you very much for that. That's what you get. Barry Bonds, Hall of Fame, baby, home run king. Why are we talking about this still? I mean, seriously, why are we talking about Barry Bonds? Can we not talk about Barry Bonds for one night? I know it's your thing, Troy, but Roger says, Troy, stay on topic, please. Troy, again, Leftwich was so horrible. He drove Brady to depression and retirement. I think that's just a false comment, honestly. Let's go out to Antonio Brown, free agent, innocent, still booming. The Champa Bay Chumps owe me money. I know that's not Antonio Brown. I felt like that's Troy Polamalu again. Now, where's Harry? Harry is not here tonight because he didn't think I was going to do a show, and I told him I didn't think I was going to do a show, but here I am. And Big Mike Roger Shue says Troy can watch them on 1252 Sports. This is Peter's show. I appreciate that. It's all about the family. It is 5'6". Oh, yeah. Let me go ahead and play the music for you, Mike, because I know you want to have that music out there. So let's see if we can get that on. Hold on. All right, let's see. There you go. There's your music right there in the background. All right, enough of that. I'm not going to play that. We're not going to do that again because that opens up Pandora's box, doesn't it? Either I lost internet or you did. I think you did, Denis. Let's see here. You did because I'm still on air. I'm on air still. So let's see. Get back in if you can. See, that's what you do when you're producing on air. Oh, yeah, Troy Polamalu. Go watch Bucs Report. All right. We don't talk about them here. Troy Polamalu, King Troy, Southside, Chicago, Bay. And Roger Shue says, play the funk. I'm not playing the funk. We've already played the funk. But going back to it, are you excited about this Super Bowl? Are you looking forward to seeing this matchup? Is there a lot of hype? I know there's been a lot of talk about Alvin Kamara, and I get it with Bucs fans. I understand why they're talking about him because he's going to be suspended for a while. Just looking at that case, overall, not good. And once again, the NFL, knowing about the whole situation and what happened, and Denis Phillips is texting me now, so we're going to try to get him back on. The NFL, knowing about what happened and still allowing him to play, I just don't get it. It's a Pro Bowl. He clearly assaulted somebody. And more than likely, he's going to face a suspension, as he should. And I was listening to Shannon Sharp this week with Skip Bayless, and they were talking on Fox Sports 1. And Shannon said something interesting. And I kind of relate this to my friends because my friends always say, you have my back. Sure, I have your back. But I have your back in a different way. I'm not going to put myself in a situation where I could go to jail. I'm not going to put myself in a situation where it's going to cost me millions of dollars or an opportunity to play for an NFL team. I'm not going to put myself in a situation where it's going to cost my career. And what Sharp said was his boys should have had his back in that they should have told Alvin Kamara, okay, let's get you away from this situation. Because nothing ever happens good late at night when you're in the club. Nothing. Especially when you're an NFL superstar. So I kind of took from that, you know what? His boys didn't have his back. And it was a selfish decision on all their parts. Because really what it comes down to is it's a pissing contest. And Kamara is going to piss away millions of dollars. And I think the NFL should be ashamed of themselves for knowing about what happened to Kamara and, basically saying, you know what? It's okay for you to play in the Pro Bowl. All right, we got, let's go out to Denis Phillips of ABC Action News. And I don't know where we left off. I don't know what happened. That was weird.
My internet. Must have been my internet because I rebooted and everything and it came back on. Used the station's Wi-Fi and I used my data. So I think one of us might not have paid our bills, but not both of us. So, I don't know what happened.
I tell you right now, the money that I pay Spectrum every month, and I need to get like a sponsorship from these guys. If I'm not getting a full G here, we got something to talk about, or they need to give me a sponsorship because I'm going off of several platforms. So good to have you back here. Yes.
Want to mention something. So I know BetUS is your sponsor or one of the sponsors here.
Yes.
And a buddy of mine messaged me today, and he lives in Tarpon, which Mitchell Wilcox is from Tarpon Springs.
Correct.
Cincinnati Bengals tight end. Got a lot more play last week 2 weeks ago after the injury to Cincinnati's tight end. And he messaged me yesterday or today, and he said, hey, I saw that if Mitch scores the first touchdown in the Super Bowl, it's plus 250,000. So he's like, man, I want to put $20 on that. So I looked on the Caesars Sportsbook app and did not see it. Now, we don't have them in Florida now. You can't use them. You can still log into the app and see what the odds are, but you can't bet on it.
Sure.
And I didn't see anything over plus 4,000, which Joe Burrow was the first touchdown. So if he actually ran it in himself, he was plus 4,000, which is pretty impressive. I don't think it would happen, but that seems like a pretty good number for the possibility of a quarterback sneak from the 2-inch line if Mixon gets tackled or somebody gets tackled on the 2-inch line. But anyway, Wilcox was plus 250,000. So you know what? That might be worth a shot, I think. Have you talked about props at all in your show?
We have not talked about prop bets. I was going to let you do that. We don't have Harry tonight because I told him, look, I don't know if I'm going to do a show. So he may be watching. He may not be watching. So you're going to have to handle this. But really quick, I want to throw this out there because this is from Ian Rappaport. We were talking about possible young quarterbacks going to the Bucs. Now, this week, Kyler Murray, who, by the way, was playing with Mike Evans and, throwing a touchdown to him, and they were talking back and forth to Instagram, consequently scrubbed his whole social media accounts of the Arizona Cardinals, and he's not even following them anymore on Instagram or Twitter. Now, Vegas actually says, they put this out there, that Kyler Murray is now the quarterback in the clubhouse favored to be traded to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. First and foremost, Dennis, do you think there's something to this? And second, could history repeat itself in that, well, the Bucs went to the NFC Championship game, and then Warren Sapp recruited Keyshawn Johnson, and they traded 2 first-round picks. Could the Bucs do this again with the recruitment from Mike Evans on a Murray?
First of all, I had not heard that there's a Vegas line on that. I'm Googling it as we speak, because that's pretty interesting. Now, your first impression, don't you think your first impression is, he's just doing it to try to get more money out of him? I mean,
right.
And a negotiating tactic. Might very well be. But what's going on here? But I'm looking at it here. I see what you're talking about. That the Bucs are the favorite at what is it? So the other contenders are the Broncos plus 600, playing baseballs plus 600. The Packers are plus 700. The Steelers are plus 900, and the Bucs are plus 500. So yeah, I mean, now that's Fox Sports created those odds. That wasn't odds created actually by any kind of a book, because I don't think you can bet on that, at least at this point, that I've not seen out of Vegas. Maybe offshore you can, but why not? Anything's possible. I can't imagine he's going to go back to baseball, because it seems kind of strange that he would do that just because he's done so well in football, and in baseball he's kind of starting over again. Would he have to go down to AAA? Would he, I don't know. I think that just adds some more interesting tidbits for the next several months. But I think it also shows that the Bucs are definitely serious and looking elsewhere. I just don't believe. I don't think anybody believes that Kyle Trask this season is going to be the starting quarterback for the Bucs. Might he be down the road if he gets another couple of years? The sidelines watching, who knows? But I'm inclined to think, boy, that would be an interesting. Did he play with Arians, or did Arians leave before he got there?
Well, he has connections to the organization, but Murray didn't play with Arians. But the interesting thing is Jason Light also has a connection with Steve Keim, who's the GM there. And then on top of it, he's relatively young. I mean, he's still on his rookie contract. He's looking for an extension, so he's not going to cost the Bucs that much besides draft picks. Let me ask you, Dennis, do you like Kyler Murray in this offense, and do you think he would fit? A lot of people talk about his size, but Russell Wilson is short. Drew Brees is short. Do you think Murray could work in this offense with the tandem, of course, of a Mike Evans and a Chris Godwin?
Look, I personally, I don't make the comparison to a Brees or anybody else. I make the comparisons to a Lamar or to, eventually Trey Lance, the new starting quarterback, more than likely for the Niners. The guy's a mobile quarterback, and he makes everybody else around him better. The question is, will he stay healthy? And that was the problem this year and last year. He was taking too many hits. And then he started to learn, maybe I won't run as much as I had. He was still getting injured. But, oh, man, if you could get – to me, if you could get a Kyler Murray, that's better than anybody else out there, probably including Aaron Rodgers. And I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to want to come play in Tom Brady's shadow. That to me, that's the biggest thing. So Aaron Rodgers already has a chip on his shoulder in so many ways. Do you really think that he wants to come to Tampa and replace Tom Brady? And if they don't do as well, he'll constantly be, look what Brady did. He's always been better than you anyway. I don't think Rodgers is in the mix at all. I think ultimately Murray's just trying to get more money out of the deal. And I don't blame him at all. What? Why not? If you can do it, do it. But I would be really shocked if he ended up being traded. I think Deshaun Watson, we've talked about this, is a real interesting situation too. Who knows what's going to happen with that? There's a lot of off-season stuff that could play out, but at the end of the day, usually those sexy picks and those sexy moves outside of Tom Brady actually coming to Tampa, they usually don't happen. They usually speculation, and everybody talks about it. Just like Aaron Rodgers leaving the Packers last year. Oh, it's a done deal. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
He just stayed put, you know?
I mean, if you're the Bucs and you're Jason Light, are you giving up 2 or 3 first-round picks in the future because you have this championship window for a Kyler Murray? 24 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Of course, people remember the wild card game versus the Rams. Looked awful, made some awful decisions. But is that on him, or is that on the organization not putting enough pieces around him? And if he comes to the Bucs, do you think he would, not only fantasy-wise, but be successful and be able to get them back to not only the playoffs, but also the Super Bowl?
No, I think Kyler Murray is a top 5 quarterback. I do. I think he's amazing. And I love mobile quarterbacks like him, just like Lamar, who also had injury problems this year as well. Again, like Trey Lance is going to be. I would absolutely give up a couple of first-round picks if you could re-sign him, because that's the key. You mentioned there's only 1 year left in his rookie contract. So if you could sign him to a longer contract, I would give everything to get a Kyler Murray, because I think he's that good. I really do. I think he's easily a top 5 quarterback. If they find a way to limit his mobility a little bit so he doesn't take as many shots or learn to go down sooner. But I do. I'm a huge Kyler Murray fan. Always have been.
All right, I want to read some of these comments because it is a family affair here. Sandra Nagel, my mother, who I have talked about on this show, we have a disagreement. We go back and forth. I'm not kidding, guys. She'll call me every night and say, Trask is the guy, I'm telling you. And I said, you know what, Mom? I'm going to bet you money on it. And she says, you're going to lose your money. That's what she says. Watching the best sports talk show in the Tampa Bay area, the Sports Web, I Love St. Pete, and the Hub. Bet US, it will be the Bengals all the way. I'm with my family in Ohio because they want it that much. It's been 49 years for Joe Burrow. Will surprise them with his great team along with him. It won't be close neither. She says it's not going to be close. Joe Burrow, we talked about it. Is he Joe Namath all over again? Is it good for the league to have a young quarterback like a Joe Burrow win a Super Bowl? Or is it better for a guy like Matt Stafford, who's paid his dues and has never had that playoff postseason success?
I think the league loves Burrow. I mean, you're right. He's kind of like a Joe Namath, although, Namath obviously in 69 guaranteed the Jets would beat the Colts. I've not heard Joe Burrow guarantee that they will beat the Rams. Has he done that? I haven't heard that.
No, he has not done that. No, he has not done that. But what people equate to that, why they compare it, is because he's got that swag. He's got diamonds on. He's smoking cigars. He's got his glasses. He's very calm and collective in his pressers. He's talking about this week how young athletes shouldn't go on social media all the time. They should focus on working out. I mean, do you agree with that assessment? Too many athletes go on social media to promote themselves instead of, focusing on what's important. That's kind of what he said this week in his press conference.
That's kind of old school. And I think that's awesome, but I don't think most athletes are going to listen to that. Yeah. I think these days, social media is part of their marketing. Yeah. It isn't just about what you do on the field. It's how you represent yourself off the field. And that's how you make a lot of your money as well, with merchandise and with contracts that way. I personally think it's great to hear, but I also enjoy the other stuff as well. I think he's a great story because he's an Ohio kid who wanted to play for the Bengals. And, right. Granted, he went to LSU and, after transferring, of course. And, I just think it's a great story because a lot of times with quarterbacks, you don't get those kind of quarterbacks. I mean, outside of his injury last year, he hasn't done anything to diminish him being picked as the number 1 pick. And a lot of times with quarterbacks, that doesn't work. I mean, how many times do we talk about quarterbacks that are drafted up high that turn out to be next to just nothing? I mean, just horrific. And nowadays, I hate to say it, running backs are kind of working the same way. You're not getting a lot of running backs that are as dominant as they used to be. I mean, Saquon Barkley is just such a perfect example. He came out as touted as anything, and injuries have just destroyed him. And now there's a lot of talk that the Giants might end up trading Saquon. So I think it's awesome. I think Burrows has backed up his talk. But do I think that the other athletes out there are going to lay off of social media and just work hard? I don't think that's where we are these days. I think he's the exception to the rule.
I agree. All right, let's go out to Christopher Cole. He says, got to watch the refs in the Super Bowl in favor of the Rams. Just saying that's what he thinks. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but who knows? Dave says, have you heard the story that Brady wants to play at least one more year, but he doesn't want to play for the Buccaneers. He wants to play for the 49ers because he's still under contract with this. He wants to get traded for a Jimmy G. Yeah, we talked about that. I think that's more a rumor, but who knows? Who knows at this point? Burrow, absolutely. Alfie says Peter Blake and Dennis Phillips winning. Appreciate that. Let me fire the cannons for that. Thank you very much. And Troy Polamalu, King Troy, Trojan legend, Joe Burrow, a.k.a. Mr. Still Your Girl. All right. So Super Bowl 56 is coming up. We've talked about it. What do you think the biggest key to the game for the Rams is to win this game, in your opinion?
I think the bigger key might be what the Bengals can do or can't do. Everybody's talked about the fact that with Aaron Donald and that front line, how are they going to give Burrow protection? Remember, Burrow got sacked 9 times against the Titans, and they still found a way to win. So I think it's going to be how their offensive coordinator schemes their offense. Maybe they realize they're not going to be able to handle LA's front line. So maybe they find ways to throw to Mixon out in the flat. Maybe they have more screens. Who knows? I think the running game it's going to be really difficult, I think, for Joe Mixon to get going. I don't think it's going to be difficult for Akers to get going. I'm a big Akers fan in spite of his fumble issues lately. I think the Bengals might be playing pass a little bit more on their pass defense, and I think that's going to open it up a lot for Sony Michel and for Cam Akers. There's a prop out there, and I just happened to notice this. So the last 4 games, the first reception thrown from Matthew Stafford was to OBJ.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the line for who makes the first catch in the game is plus 700 or something like that for OBJ. So, I know there's the first touchdown thing, and, that's certainly a possibility too. But I think if there was an interesting prop bet to look at, it's, maybe who makes the first reception. And it would, and in my opinion, OBJ is as good as anybody. They've done it 4 straight times. So why not if it's worked?
Right.
And I don't know. I'd like to think the Bengals would find a way to win this game. They've certainly found a way at Kansas City to do it, but I don't know. I think the home field advantage is bigger than a lot of people are talking about. Being able to sleep in your own bed for a week prior to the game and to have things feel comfortable. I just think the Rams get it done. I'm not 27-17 or something like that. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
So close game, not necessarily a blowout here. The professional handicapper extraordinaire 1252 Sports was saying this could possibly be a blowout. I'm not seeing that.
Harry said that?
Yeah, Harry did say that. He said it could be a blowout. That's the way the Rams are playing right now, in his opinion. And then his big-time matchup, again, is Aaron Donald, Leonard Floyd, and Von Miller on that line versus Cincinnati. That's a big-time challenge. I think the matchup I'm looking at is if Burrow does get that time, can he get it to Chase? Because you got Jalen Ramsey. And we saw Mike Evans, how, he could – Ramsey couldn't defend a Mike Evans. Well, can he defend a Jamar Chase? What do you think about that matchup? Who, in your opinion, wins that? Is it the young kid Chase or the crafty veteran Ramsey?
Yeah, I personally, I think Ramsey's a little overrated now. He's getting up there a bit, and he's been beat in the last few weeks several times. In fact, it seemed like it was kind of getting in his head a little bit because he was. After plays were over, it was getting more into shoving matches, trying to get in the guy's head a little bit more. I personally think that Chase has so much speed. Now, granted, Ramsey has the experience, but you got to wonder if first of all, I've not heard I can never pronounce his name. Cincinnati's tight end, Usman Shah. How do you pronounce it? It's Usman.
Yes.
With an A.
Yes. CJ said he's going to play in this game. Now, of course, and
that's big because he had been a real big part of their offense in the previous 2 or 3 weeks. Burrow was looking for him. Now, if you can get the tight end a little more involved, mean, who knows? That might open it up for Chase, or Higgins or Boyd or whoever down the road. But I just think at the end of the day, you've got Cooper Kupp, who no one's talking about, and you've got Van Jefferson, who's been a really good number 3. And of course, OBJ, and I told you, I love Akers, and Sony Michel has been solid too. I'm not the kind of guy, I don't have these great feelings for Matthew Stafford. He's graduated Georgia, played with the Lions. I mean, is it his time? I mean, it might be a nice story for some folks, but I don't, he's not my guy. I don't really care one way or the other. I just think the Rams have a little bit too much firepower. And Cincinnati, are they just happy to be there? That expression?
Sure.
I don't think so. I think they're peaking at the right time, but I wonder if, they almost get there, they fall short, and they're like, you know what? We did a lot more than we thought we're going to be. We're going to be ready for next season. And for some reason, that's sticking into my head. That's going to be the post-game interviews. I don't know why. That's just coming to my mind that they're going to say, hey, we had a great season. We're not happy. We're going to be back better next year because the Rams win the Super Bowl.
All right, this is from one of our new watchers here, Mr. Mac Davis. He says the Niners need to keep Jimmy G, trade Lance, and keep the momentum from the last 3 seasons, 5 NFC championships, 2 Super Bowl appearances in the last 10 years, completely overlooked. Is that what you would do? I mean, I don't think it's going to happen because, look, you draft a guy 3rd overall. You haven't gotten a chance to see him. I think it's almost like a Chargers situation, right? I mean, you draft Philip Rivers in the 1st round. You have Drew Brees. You give up on Brees. He ends up being a better quarterback. But Rivers, still in that Hall of Fame conversation, never, ever winning a Super Bowl, but still pretty damn good. So is that the way you see the 49ers situation working out? They're going to trade a Jimmy G because they have that 3rd overall pick in a Trey Lance.
That's what I think. I mean, I've told you a million times, I love mobile quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I love Justin Fields. I think eventually he's going to be great. I love Kyler Murray. I love Lamar Jackson. I love Trey Lance because those guys bring another dimension to that. And when they're healthy, and boy, that is the key to most of those quarterbacks. When they are healthy, they are game changers. I mean, look at Lamar a few years ago when he was MVP.
Sure.
I mean, they completely changed that game on the field, every bit of it. And there aren't many out there that can do it. There's a 5 or 6, right? Josh Allen is a mobile quarterback, but he's not known for his running. He's known for his arm and his accuracy. I mean, he's kind of the best of both worlds. He's not afraid to run, but Josh Allen is more of a bruiser. I mean, he's not known for his speed. He's known that he's not afraid to take it right to somebody and not back down. Whereas, a Trey Lance and a Kyler and a Lamar, they're not going to initiate contact because they don't need to initiate contact because they're outrunning everybody. So To me, I think Trey Lance is that guy. And I think the sooner they get him in, as long as he stays healthy, and that's the key to everything in this league with those quarterbacks. And honestly, there's not a great track record of them staying healthy. Lamar's been having injury issues. Kyler's been having injury issues. Justin had injury issues, rookie anyway. And even Trey Lance, who came in the middle of this season to when Garoppolo got hurt, immediately had some injury issues as well. So that's the one thing about those quarterbacks. You get a pocket quarterback, the injury rate on those guys are a lot lower than a guy who's not afraid to take it out there and take some hits, unfortunately.
And that's the thing. You love a mobile quarterback, but the problem is they put themselves in harm's way more than, a pocket passing quarterback. Let's go out to Mac again. He says Ramsey is a whiny joke. The Rams shouldn't be there. Of course, this is a 49er fan. We were talking tonight at dinner, talking about the show and his team. Bengals win it this year of the Tigers. So what is the Ram defense's biggest weakness? We know that the pass rush is going to be there, I believe. I think that's the biggest key to the game and the thing that scares me the most. But if the Bengals run the ball and they become a balanced offense, can they get some big plays down the field to the tight end, to, of course, Chase and a Boyd?
Higgins.
And a T. Higgins. Yeah, forget him.
Yeah, they can, but I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball. Okay. I think if they use Mixon, they use him out of the backfield. And they try to, he can catch the ball. Maybe they let the Rams use that pass rush and they take it to their advantage and try to set up some screens that way. I don't know. These aren't things, obviously. These are things that they've obviously thought of over and over and over again.
Sure.
I just think if the Titans can get 9 sacks on Burrow, and they still find a way to win. I think the Rams offense is superior to the Titans offense in comparison. And if you remember that, I mean, that Titans game was a low scoring game. I don't think the Bengals are going to win a low scoring game. I think if they're not going to shut down the Rams offense, in my opinion. I think the Rams are going to score at least 24 points. So they're going to have to score at least 27. And if you remember against the Titans, that's not how they won. It was a very cold, very low scoring game, and they found a way to win. It was very cold in Kansas City. It ain't going to be cold in Los Angeles. They don't have air conditioning in that building. That's something that's kind of crazy because you don't need it. I used to work in LA. Usually there's a nice sea breeze that comes in, and they have they have things that open up. The top windows open up, and that's designed to get the sea breeze to come in. So even though record heat with heat advisories in the 90s, I mean, it still might be kind of comfortable, but it ain't going to be a cold weather game. It is going to be a hot game. So I don't think weather comes into play, as it may have in the previous two games with the Bengals. You got to figure they're a cold weather team, right? You got to figure they are.
Sure. So,
I get it. Burrows went to LSU and whatnot, but the Rams, they're going to be playing in a very hot environment, and I don't think weather's going to be a factor whatsoever. So again, hey, if the Bengals find a way to do it, props to them. I mean, by no means, they're only a 4-point dog. I'm certainly not saying they can't. I just kind of think this is just like the Bucs last year when they were kind of going all in for a home Super Bowl. The Rams did the exact same thing this year by picking up Von Miller in the middle of the year, by picking up OBJ. I mean, those are parts that really came in handy, and it's as though they knew this was their year, and I just don't think anything's going to stop them.
And I agree with you on that, Dennis. We're on with Denis Phillips of ABC Action News. I completely agree with you. The blueprint is out there. It's the Brady blueprint, and that's why I say, once again, the Bucs are not going to go with Trask unless every avenue they explore is basically shut down. They're going to go with the veteran quarterback at that point. They're going to try to keep that Super Bowl playoff window open. And look at the end of the day, you look at that division as a whole, it's not really that good. If you win that division, you at least get a home playoff game, and who knows what happens after that. You just got to get in. More likely MVP, and then I'll get you out of here because I know you got to run. You're a busy guy there in the area. More likely MVP, Matt Stafford or Cooper Kupp?
Oh, that's a good question.
Thank you.
Usually you give it to the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And I've not even, wonder what the odds are on that. I've not even looked, but well, let me look. Let me check right now. I would guess it's going to be Stafford, but let's see, MVP odds. Right now it looks like the favorite is, it's Stafford. Stafford's even money at plus 100. Cooper Kupp is plus 600, actually.
Wow.
So the first choice is Stafford at 100. Second choice is Burrow at 225. Cooper Kupp is the third choice at plus 600. And then from there, it's everybody over 1,000. So, it's usually the quarterbacks that go MVP. So let's be honest. If the Bengals win, it's going to be Burrow. And if the Rams win, it's going to be Stafford. That seems very, very likely.
I absolutely agree with you, unless, Chase goes off or maybe an OBJ. But I think those are the more likely candidates at that juncture. Yeah. Favorite Super Bowl of all time and why?
Man, I don't even know if I have one. I can think back over decades and decades of them. I'll
give you one. I'll just give you one. Tampa Stadium. It's 1990. The Buffalo Bills are playing the New York Giants. You got offense versus defense. Bill Parcells, Bill Belichick before he became this all-world coach. And you got the fun Bills team with Jim Kelly out of the University of Miami, Thurman Thomas and Andre Reed and Bruce Smith and Cornelius Bennett. So many names there. And it just was a back-and-forth affair. And it comes down to a damn field goal by Scott Norwood, who misses it. I mean, that's probably. And then, the Tom Brady Super Bowl versus the Atlanta Falcons, 28-3.
That's probably it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's an overtime game. They're down 28-3. In terms of excitement, I don't know if it was my favorite Super Bowl. I don't really know if I have a favorite Super Bowl because I've never had a team that was really, truly my team win one. But, when 28-3 is that had to be the most exciting one I've ever seen, certainly.
All right, commercials, are they overrated at this point? Have they lost their luster? I mean, we're always talking about Super Bowl commercials, but I think the last 2 years, and maybe it's because I'm covering the Bucs or out there on assignment doing my thing, I think the commercials have kind of lost their luster. What do you say?
Yeah, you know why I think you're right? Why I think they have is because they're always leaked online before the game. You know, if it were one of those things that you've never seen it, you don't know what the previews are, you have no idea, and then it comes up, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, wow, that's really cool. I love that. But so many of them now were already on beforehand, and it kind of loses the excitement, and it makes you wonder why they're going to pay the millions and millions and millions of dollars when they're already showing up on social media prior to the game. But I agree with you 100%. I mean, there's always some good commercials, but I think it's not nearly as much fun as it used to be when you never know. To me, and we do this every year, our family, when we go to a Super Bowl party, we always print out a prop sheet, and everybody likes to do that. And a lot of the prop sheets now out there that you can just scan it and it'll tell you how many you got right, because there's so many of those out there now for free. And it asks what color Gatorade it's going to be afterwards, and and who wins the coin toss, and will the national anthem be more or less than 2 minutes and 4 seconds or whatever. I kind of like doing that. I still enjoy doing that.
Favorite commercial of all time?
I mean, I don't know if I have one of all time, but the Clydesdales commercials, the Budweiser Clydesdale, are always the ones that usually pull on your heartstrings. I mean, they just always do. I mean, those are the ones that kind of get you. And but I'm sure there have been a million others. I just can't think of them off the top of my head.
I mean, the old Bud Bowl commercials, I remember those. All right, good stuff here, Mr. Denis Phillips. Thanks a lot for your time. And once again, go ahead and promote yourself. Not only are you working for ABC Action News, but you have some damn good shows here on Facebook Watch on Tuesday and Thursdays. Go ahead and promote yourself, Denis Phillips.
Oh, by the way, for the record, I just Googled best Super Bowl commercials of all time. And
yes,
the Mean Joe Green one came up with the Coke and a smile. Remember? I mean,
Nothing beat that. I mean, it's never been done before, and you cannot duplicate that Hollywood. You cannot do it. Don't do it. They tried to do this years ago. It doesn't work. Just leave it alone. Leave it alone.
I think that's the best one. And the Clydesdales actually were number 7 with the Clydesdale kicking a field goal. So there you go. Anyway, I'm on the air in about a half hour on ABC Action News, 27 minutes on Channel 11, talking about cold air tomorrow, talking about beautiful weather the next 2 or 3 days. And we will be doing some more fundraising coming up the very near future for the Children's Miracle Network with some kind of cool stuff that a local artist did with me, as well as our Rule Number 7 hurricane prep stuff coming up in the upcoming months as well. All right, good stuff. Denis Phillips of ABC Action News. Thanks a lot for your time here on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. All right, buddy? Talk to you soon, Peter. Have a good one. All right, enjoy the Super Bowl right there, Mr. Denis Phillips of ABC Action News. Let's go out to the comments. You got to love it. Eat some dinner, get home late, but still, you get your sports web. I want to hear some phone calls from you guys. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Let's go out to Mac here. New webhead. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Once again, bad decision making makes them a liability. In addition, mobile run first guys make mistakes rather than looking for your playmakers downfield. Absolutely agree with that. Once again, a family affair who day. So I think I'll give her the Byron Leftwich.
How about them Bucs, baby?
Even though she's rooting on the Cincinnati Bengals. That's my mom right there. Bucs 7-10 next year, and this is what you get for that.
Shut up!
Roger Shue says Bears versus the Pats. Bears win the Super Bowl. I think you're dreaming. Let's go on to Roger again. Good night, Mr. Phillips. Absolutely. And Max says it was cool. Nice show, but the show is not over unless you guys want it to be over. I can get off the air here. Pete, have you met Denis Phillips in person? Yes, I have. Actually went out to his house, donated some money, had some hot cocoa, and saw what he had out there with Christmas lights. And I'm all about charity. And I got a notice today on my Facebook wall, and that's the kind of inspiration I love. You know, this is the reason why you do this for me. Personally, I try to make an impact in somebody's life. If I can put a smile on your face, if I can make you think about something, if you can be entertained when I come on this air, then I did my job. But going back to it, somebody posted today they wanted to help my following on TikTok because I'm like one of those old guys that doesn't know anything about TikTok. And he said, you know what? I want to help you with your following if you'll help me with St. Jude's. If you'll help me get kids that are fighting cancer. If you'll help your friend who's dealing with cancer. And in my family, cancer has hit us hard. I lost my father, of course, and I lost 2 grandmas. So that kind of stuff right there means a lot to me. And what Denis Phillips is doing, I love it. I love to be a part of it. I love it. 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. Let's go out to Morgan Wilson. Vum today. I don't know what that is, but okay. Don't know what you were saying there. David says, I know we have a problem at quarterback, but I think our biggest problem right now is at running back. Well, look, David, you got a point. Right? I mean, you've got lots of unsigned free agents that you're going to have to make some decisions on. And, I try to calm Bucs fans down because I know that there's going to be some fan favorites or some players that they would like to be on this team that are no longer going to be on this team. Either they're going to price themselves out or the Bucs as an organization saw this player and he said, you know what? They lost a step, and we may have to move on. And that's okay. We all knew, when I say we, because we were getting on this program last year, we heard the rumors of, look, the Bucs may lose some players this year, right? There's a possibility, and then they bring everybody back. But the problem is, when you bring everybody back, eventually, you're going to have to pay that piper. And that's what the Bucs are going to do this year, most likely. All right, let's go out to Mr. Daniel Derricks. Daniel, welcome to the Evolution, leading it off tonight. What do you have to say, my friend?
Nothing much. I'm just going to say a couple of things before I go to bed.
Sure.
I just basically, I think Kyler Murray is going to be a great asset if he does come to the Bucs. I think that there's not a lot of, quarterbacks that we can consider right now to get.
Not Jimmy G. You're not a Jimmy G fan? You're not a Jimmy G fan? I mean, to me, that is the most likely scenario, in my opinion. People will say...
I don't think it happened because here's why. I think that Jimmy G, he's a great quarterback. He was great. But he always blows it at last minute. And I don't think that he'd be a strong player. I mean, they got in the playoffs by the wind off their feet.
Correct.
And I just feel like that Jimmy Garoppolo, he's great, but I don't think he would be great for the Bucs. I think Kyler Murray, after what I saw previews when it's the Pro Bowl and the catch that he made, that Mike Evans made, I thought, there's your quarterback right there. There's no one else.
Well, I tell you what it kind of reminds me of, Daniel. I tell you what it kind of reminds me of a little bit, and then I'll let you go ahead and finish. In college, he had a smallish quarterback by the name of Johnny Manziel. Now, I think Kyler Murray's a lot better than Johnny Manziel. Don't mistake me for this. But the style of quarterback, you can make that work with a mobile quarterback. If he's out there, he's improvising, he can find a big target like a Mike Evans. It ain't going to be hard. I get it. He's 5'8", 5'9". A lot of people say, well, he's a smallish quarterback. There's not many smallish quarterbacks. If he's mobile, he's able to get out of the pocket. You're running shotgun, something along those lines. I don't think it's a big-time effect. And I see that possibility. I see what you see, and I get it. It's a Pro Bowl, but the possibilities are endless. And he's, 24, 25 years old. He's coming off a season where he had 24 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. It seems like he's progressively getting better every year, and you get him for 2 or 3 first-round picks. You willing to do that?
Well, let's not forget this too, Pete. Weren't they the only team for a while that were undefeated during the season? They were the only team, the Cardinals was. And not only that, who else was the coach that used to coach for the Cardinals? Bruce Arians.
Bruce Arians.
I mean, yes, obviously Bruce Arians wasn't coach when Kyle Murray came. I mean, he's a new stud, but at the same time, the way I look at it is I think that this would possibly work. Maybe a couple of seasons, one season. Let's just see how it goes. But I honestly think that that might happen because I just, that's how I see it. I really do. Another thing I wanted to say too is that you mentioned something earlier, and I did my digging and research too on Instagram, is that Kyler Murray, you had mentioned earlier, who didn't follow Cardinals or anything, his whole Instagram is like blank. It only has 2 photos on there. And I just thought, really interesting.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, who does he follow? Tom Brady. He follows Tom Brady, which I'm sure a lot of players do.
Sure.
Which is, crazy. But at the same time, I thought that was very, very interesting. What player would do that? Obviously social media is a big thing amongst players and everything else.
Sure.
But who would do that last minute? That kind of gives a red flag of, are you really done? Because towards the end, I mean, the Cardinals were playing okay.
Well, playing horrible. I mean, they were
playing,
4-7 in their last 11. Yeah.
They weren't playing the best.
No.
And I feel like Kyler Murray was kind of frustrated at that point because here's a team that was undefeated, who started off being undefeated, and then just either pulls the foot off the gas. I don't know. Do they have a lot of injury issues?
Right.
I don't know what happened, but it was just like something like stuck out the air. And Cam Newton came back and just tortured them. I mean, I look at it and say, Carolina Panthers were a junky team anyways. So I was like thinking to myself, okay, Cam Newton's showing off here because he's thinking he's back into the 2016, 2015 days, and he's, big Superman and everything. But the point is that how in the world can you come out of that? It was like it sucked the energy out of Arizona. But I honestly do. I honestly think that that's going to happen. He's going to have to learn that this coach, Bruce Arians, is going to be tough. But I think that's what he wants. So if it ends up happening, that's what I think is it. But real quick, I wanted to say, too, is that I wanted to come on when Dennis Phillips came on. But Dennis Phillips, I actually met 11 years ago.
Really?
For a career-shattering project at my school. Yeah.
Okay.
A long story short, Dennis, I was obsessed over the weather a lot, so I sent him a lot of pictures and stuff. And I took outside. I was living at Lakeland at the time. And I did a career-shattering project. I went through the studio back, I would say 2011 it was. And I was shy at the time. I mean, I think it was like, I don't know, 13, 12, something like that.
Right.
And at any rate, long story short, he was like, hey, sit at the chair and everything. Let's get a picture and sit at the chair. Well, I didn't like that too much. And the picture turned out horrible. But I remember that moment. And I remember, seeing the whole studio and everything, seeing the weather. But, Dennis has been probably the best meteorologist ever in the Tampa Bay area, covering everything.
Sure.
It's good that you have him on the show.
Absolutely.
But, hopefully next week. I was going to ask him how the weather is because I'm traveling next week out of state on Thursday and see what the weather's like out here and going up to the Carolinas. So
okay. Well, I'll tell you what you do. What you do is next Wednesday night, we'll have him on again. You call in and you talk to Mr. Denis Phillips, and we'll talk a little bit about weather, man. That's a great story. And, meeting him in person, he's a great guy. And it's always great to have him on here and, share his time and talk sports. He enjoys it. And I think we welcome him here. All the web heads and all the fans of this program, they really welcome him with open arms, with questions and he's got great insight and he definitely likes to bet a little bit, and that's okay. We like to make people money on this show. That's why we got Harry the Greek and of course him coming on. But when it comes down to local sports, whether it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or the Tampa Bay Rays or even the Tampa Bay Lightning, he loves to talk about it, and we let him talk here. And it's great to have him on. He's got a great program on Facebook. But yeah, definitely call up next Wednesday and we'll check on and see what that weather is. And of course, have a safe trip up there. Most likely it's going to be cold because you're not down in Florida. So everywhere else it's going to be cold. But it's been crazy down here. I'm telling you right now.
Yes.
I did not expect that.
An icebox.
Yeah. I'm waiting for snow.
Like, literally, I've had to turn because you and I both work at the same place. But I've had to literally turn the heat on numerous times. And there's times where it's too hot. And I turn it back on. Florida weather is awful here. But I think because I'm going to Raleigh, it's going to be like maybe in the 60s when I arrive. But it's going to be either raining or it's going to have either a mix. I don't know. I have no idea by the closer to when I talk to him, maybe he'll know. I don't know. But anyway, that's the deal there. Don't even ask me about Super Bowl. I don't care about the Super Bowl. This is going to be one of the Super
At all? I mean, come on. Now, I get it. You're a Bucs fan. But come on now, you're not interested in Super Bowl 56. You're one of the biggest football fans I know, Daniel. Now you're not going to. What are you doing on? Wait a minute. Now hold on. I'm calling you to the carpet here. I got a bone to pick with you, my friend. What are you going to do on a Sunday night besides watch the Super Bowl?
I mean, first of all, I'm probably excited for my trip next week, so I'll probably look at that. But I don't know. I'll probably watch it off and on.
You can. Oh, yeah. You're going to be watching the game. You better stop it right. Yeah, off and on. You can multitask there. Come on. Who do you like in that game? Who do you like? Seriously. You like Joe Burrow and the upstart Cincinnati Bengals? The story of the AFC this year. You like the Rams.
Like the Rams. So okay. I don't like the Rams at all. I have not liked the Bengals for a while, but I do like Joe Burrow. I do like Joe Burrow.
You like Joe Burrow?
Like him as a quarterback.
Okay.
I do, because I think he's a good quarterback, and here's why I say that. Well, first of all, I had a jersey. Skip this. It was crazy. I had a jersey at Ross. It was at Ross, a Joe Burrow jersey.
And
I bought it. I thought, hey, maybe I can sell it online, get a few extra dollars, whatnot, because it was like dirt cheap. Little did I realize that the Bengals were going to go far in the Super Bowl. I said to my mom, I was like, man, if I had just kept that jersey, I would have sold it for even more. But it was crazy. It's crazy because, I never heard about who this Joe Burrow was. I had to do my research on it after seeing this jersey. And everything else, I thought to myself, man, I never knew he played for LSU. He got hurt in LSU. And then I was watching this on SportsCenter, and I thought he got hurt afterwards. The next day, he never lost. I don't think he lost the game, and they won the championship. I forgot what year it was, 2017, 2016, 2020. I'm off by a
couple years ago, about 2019. It hasn't been that long ago. 2019 defeating, of course, the eventual number one pick. Not only Burrow was the number one pick, but you had Trevor Lawrence in that game defeating Clemson in the, I believe it was the Sugar Bowl.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
And I didn't believe the hype. I thought, look, Joe Burrow has not played a defense like Clemson, and it was totally wrong about that. Joe Burrow just absolutely lit Clemson up. It was a great quarterback matchup, but it definitely favored Burrow. And I can always remember him, sitting back there and just smoking a cigar like he's the coolest guy in the world.
Yeah.
And really, that's what you want. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying a quarterback to smoke a cigar, but that kind of attitude, like I'm not going to be frazzled, right? I'm going to get sacked 9 times by the Tennessee Titans. I'm going to find a way to overcome. That's the kind of franchise quarterback you want to have. And look, this kid has been through it. He's coming off a major injury last year. He's led this team. Right. Nobody thought the Bengals had any opportunity to beat anybody. And they're absolutely one of the biggest stories in NFL history, especially this year. And I think it would be great for the National Football League to have yet another young quarterback win a Super Bowl. I just kind of think it's the Rams' time with Matt Stafford. I think they're as a complete team as you're ever going to find. And I believe what my co-host said, Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire, it seems like they're playing like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers of last year. Just saying.
Yeah. Here's another thing, too. You just mentioned it, too, is that he came off an injury in LSU, and then he came off an injury with the Bengals last year, and then he just exploded this year too, just like he did with LSU. Here's my guess. I think it's going to be down to the wire. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. If it's a blowout, I'll be surprised. But here's what I think is going to happen. I feel like it's going to be down to the wire. Obviously, it's been one of those last-minute field goals, win the game type of playoffs this year.
Sure.
I feel that the Bengals are going to shock LA Rams. And I feel the score is going to be either 27-24 or 23-20.
Wow.
That's how I'm feeling. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Now, granted, I could be wrong. I felt the same way last year with the Bucs. I thought it could be a close game. Never expected a blowout with 31-9.
Sure.
Never expected that. But here's the thing, though. You had, Patrick Mahomes, who had an injury with his foot. So you look at a lot of these injuries, these two teams, I don't know how the injury reports is on the Bengals. You look at the Rams, they're pretty healthy.
Yeah.
And they also got the Bengals, who have been pretty kind of healthy too.
Sure.
But when I saw them play against the Tennessee Titans, that was like the number one team. Everyone kept talking about Titans, and even the Bills too, and especially the Titans. And the way I watched them with that game, I thought, man, the Titans were playing good, but they came out with the last minute field goal like they did.
Mm.
And then you saw the game like you did with the Chiefs, which I don't understand. Again, with Patrick Mahomes just standing there, not throwing the football and everything, and like deer in the headlights and everything.
He looked like he did against the Bucs defense last year. He's running 497 yards behind the line of scrimmage. He looked completely lost in the sauce.
Yeah, I was just like, what is going on? I mean,
Yeah.
my goodness. So at any rate, I was just like, he was not playing focused. He was not playing focused. I don't know where his mind was, but the point is that the Bengals overall were playing pretty good.
Sure.
To come back in that gap. I mean, you can say all you want about the Titans game. I mean, Titans, he had a lot of sacks in that game. Joe Burrow did, but you look at the Chiefs game, they came back strong in that game, almost kind of like a Tom Brady Super Bowl 51 comeback. Not that extreme.
Sure.
But at the same time, he came pretty back into that game against the Chiefs playing home stadium. So very interesting.
Yeah.
I really wouldn't, say to yourself, I mean, yeah, they're playing home team, the home stadium. It's going to be loud. It's going to be crazy. But I honestly feel it's going to be down to the wire. You're going to see probably in the first half, the Rams just take off.
Mm-hmm.
Probably going to see maybe, I'm just going to say this out here.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to probably see it at 20-3.
Okay.
So the Rams are going to be in there. Eminem's going to do their thing and everything on the halftime show. After that, then you're going to see the Bengals some way, somehow come back in this thing. And I honestly feel that it's going to be tied at 20. You're probably going to see a touchdown, maybe lead the game. You're probably going to see maybe them try to kick a field goal and try to make it cool, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's going to be 24-27 or 23-27. That's what I'm thinking.
Wow.
And it's going to be a very big shocker because here's the thing. The Rams, the last time that they won a Super Bowl, yes, it was when they were with St. Louis, but that was back in 99. Bengals have not won a Super Bowl. For them to go this far, I mean, the last time they were in a Super Bowl was wasn't it the 49ers?
49ers,
yeah.
88, 89. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
And so they lost that game.
They did.
The 49ers.
In the last minute.
Be a redeemer.
Yeah.
This could be a redeemer. You could see again a repeat like you did with LSU and go all the way. That's what I honestly think. I think the Bengals are going to come back in this game. People are going to talk about this game for a while and say, where in the heck were the Rams? Blah, 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 blah. But that's what I honestly think. They're going to talk about this game as being something like this. It'll be very different. It'll be very different. You watch. But that's all I have to say on that game.
All right.
Hopefully the Super Bowl commercials are better this year.
Right. I mean, look, I got a chance to watch them, but I was more focused at that point because I was at the Deck Bar and Grill covering the Bucs, of course, in the Super Bowl. And look, for me, you've got to pay attention to the stuff that's important. I didn't really get a chance to pay attention to the commercials. I'll probably, watch them sometime. I heard they weren't that great. They don't really impress me. I think they're overrated. But I'll tell you what, favorite Super Bowl of all time and why, favorite commercial all time and why, and favorite halftime show of all time and why. Go.
Okay. All right. Favorite halftime show? I will have to say last year. I liked The Weeknd. I think he was really good.
Yep.
He tried hard. I guess it was COVID. I honestly think that was a good one. Favorite Super Bowl commercial? Ooh, I have plenty. I think the Doritos ones are amazing. I think the Doritos one was like the kid who says to him, "Put it back. Don't touch my mama. Don't touch my Doritos." That one I like.
That's a good one. That's a very good one.
That's my favorite one.
Yes. Okay.
And what was the other question you asked? Favorite Super Bowl you said?
Favorite Super Bowl of all favorite Super Bowl of all time and why?
Last year, obviously, Super Bowl 55. We made history in Tampa, being the first team to host the Super Bowl in their home stadium, win it, and come back. I didn't remember Super Bowl when the Bucs won it the first time. I was a young child at the time. I do remember a little bit of it, but I do remember this one being really good because it was like more of a blowout between this team than it was with that team. So those are my choices. I think The Weeknd was great, and I think the Super Bowl from last year was great, and yeah, that's about it.
All right. You looking forward to Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Kendrick Lamar, Eminem, and Mary J. Blige? I'm telling you right now, I'm looking forward to this. I think the NFL has outdone themselves. I hope that there's no incidents or something weird that happens. I mean, are you looking forward to this halftime show this year or what?
It's gonna be interesting. It'll be great. I haven't heard Eminem produce any songs recently, so it'll be interesting to see what he comes out with stuff. It's gonna be either stuff from either the early 2000s. I remember Eminem boomed when I was in high school and middle school.
Sure.
When he did a bunch of songs. He did a bunch of songs.
Yeah.
He did a bunch of songs with Rihanna. He did a bunch of songs with other things. Snoop Dogg did too. And then Kendrick Lamar, I think, came out, I want to say maybe my sophomore, freshman year. He came out with stuff. And Mary J. Blige, I don't know if she came out with anything. Oh, yeah, it should be interesting to see. I'm sure they'll probably have the bleep button ready.
Well, they got to. I mean, you got to have it ready to go. And I like the NFL and their thinking on this. But, you just hope there's not a situation like there always seems like there is with the halftime show. Good stuff, Daniel Dierks. Thanks a lot for the call. Let me give you the Byron Leftwich.
How about them Bucs, baby?
Appreciate it. Don't be a stranger, my friend. All right?
Well, good night. Have a good night. Thank you, Peter.
Yep, absolutely, buddy. There you go. Open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. It's the Sports Web live here on I Love St. Pete and the Hub. Thanks a lot for joining me. Of course, if you are betting on this game this week, and you shall, go to betus.com. Use this promo code right there. You get 125% sign-up bonus. Once again, promo code TSW22, which stands for the Sports Web. If you're going to bet on this game, if you're going to bet on NBA, NHL, any of those prop bets that we talked about with Denis Phillips, betus.com. And once again, TSW22 right there. Let's go ahead and read these comments. And then if we don't get any more phone calls, and the question for the night is, are you looking forward to Super Bowl 56 between the Bengals and the Rams? Are you interested in it? Give me a prediction. Favorite Super Bowl of all time? Why? Where were you at? How old were you? Favorite Super Bowl commercial? Commercials overrated. Looking forward to the halftime show. One great one was Prince. I think it was Jacksonville between New England and Philly. Prince and the Rain. Singing Purple Rain. Amazing. Can't believe we lost that guy. I mean, that halftime show was good. One of my favorites. I'm looking forward to this. I got a chance to see The Weeknd last year. Thought it was great. Did a good job. Not really much controversy. It was during the pandemic, so it was kind of weird. I like The Weeknd. I do. All right, let's see. We should tag CD3, sign Gilmore, put Dean at nickel, and SMB would be our fourth cornerback. Oh, and don't forget about Whitehead. Well, here's the problem with that, and I love it. I think you're definitely going to franchise Carlton Davis. I do. Absolutely. Gilmore's going to cost you some money. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to get him and pry him out of Carolina. In fact, I don't think he's a free agent. I think he's still under contract, if I'm not correct. Dean, I definitely think, is going to be on this team. SMB, you may see them draft somebody for SMB. I like SMB, though. I do. But you may draft that position anyway with all the injuries you had last year. You may just do it. And then Whitehead, it's going to be something interesting. Really is. Because the way this kid played, and at situations last year, I mean, he really stepped up his game. You have Antoine Winfield Jr. and Jordan Whitehead. And also Mike Edwards, who didn't, played well in the slot, but had his moments. So they got some decisions to make. I like the Gilmore pick. I just don't think they'll have the money, and I still believe he's under contract. Chris Cole says, find a way to sign Godwin and many free agents we have. Well, Bucs fans, I mean, that's up to you. And this is going to be up to you during the whole postseason here. Because football never ends for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here on the Sports Web. Who do you want to see them sign? Do you want to see him franchise Carlton Davis? Should they franchise a Chris Godwin? William Golston is out there. Sue has not made a decision yet. We don't know if Gronk is going to come back, but we assume with Brady and Gronk, that's going to free up some cap. So the Bucs have some flexibility to go out there and replenish, Leo word, their roster. We'll get back to that in a moment because Bleacher Report actually had a story on who the Bucs should cut We'll see if you agree with it. I think you'll know him because most Bucs fans have wanted him traded the last 2 to 3 years. So we'll see if that happens. Let's see. Roger Shoe says Godwin to the Bears. You're hallucinating.
Shut up!
Let's go out to Chris Cole. Mark my words. Lions will be Cincinnati next year. I mean, look, they play hard. I'm not saying they don't play hard for Dan Campbell, and I've been pleasantly surprised. But who's your quarterback? Jared Goff? Goff's not taking anywhere. So I don't know if I'm going to buy that. They got to draft a quarterback, and consequently this year, quarterback is not really something you should draft. It's very low down. It's not a great year for drafting a quarterback. Who knows? But that's what the national media says. You look at the statistics for some of these quarterbacks, very raw. Well, maybe Malik Willis out of Liberty, Corral out of the SEC. That would be somebody. But besides that, Pickett from Pittsburgh. That's another name to watch for. Lions are trash. Bears, NFC North champs. We shall see. Bears are trash too, but they fired Nagy for an unknown coach. Favorite Super Bowl, not the Bucs, was Pittsburgh versus Arizona in the last second catch by Santonio Holmes in the corner of the end zone. I definitely remember that. Was it 2008, 2009? That was a fun Super Bowl. Kurt Warner, Larry Fitzgerald, Ken Wisenhunt as the coach, I believe, right? Big Ben Roethlisberger, Santonio Holmes. Some weapons on that Pittsburgh Steelers team, and defensively, James Harrison, 92 yards, right? To the house? I think so. Wow. Who would be better coach than Saggy Nagy? Roger Shoe says, Super Bowl 20, Bears win. I was doing 15, doing the Super Bowl shuffle, baby, and that was, of course, the 85 Bears. One of the greatest defenses of all time. One of the greatest cast of characters for a whole team of all time. You know, going back to that 2002 Bucs team, I kind of compare it to the 85 Bears. Yes, I said that. I do. Bucs defense, one of the greatest of all time. The cast of characters, Simeon Rice and Warren Sapp and Derek Brooks and John Lynch and Ronnie Barber. And the list goes on and on. Offensively, Brad Johnson, Joe Jurevicius. Of course, his play that just changed the whole momentum of that game. 71 yards. You know, right up there. Keyshawn Johnson and Keenan McCardell and Michael Pittman and Dilger and Dudley. And they had characters on that team. Namely on the defensive side. That's why I compare it to the 85 Bears. And you look at the statistics at the end of the day, one of the greatest defenses of all time. Not only the 85 Bears, but that 2002 Bucs team, of course, Super Bowl 37. My favorite Super Bowl was first Super Bowl in San Diego, finally getting over that hump and making it to the biggest game. Troy Polamalu, King Troy, Trojan Legend SC, SMB, as he's laughing. SMB is so bad, he wasn't even invited to the Pro Bowl. Well, he didn't play the whole year. Come on. Stop being a jackass.
Shut up!
SMB is trash. No, you're trash. Stop it. Super Bowl III was the best. Why? Why was Super Bowl III the best? Call up 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Want to go out to this story here, why the Bucs should cut Cameron Brate. According to Bleacher Report, Brate's release would come with just a $1.9 million salary cap hit, which is more worth it open around $5 million in cap space, of course, 7.3. And what they're basically saying is the 30-year-old tight end has a base salary of 6.5 for the 2022 campaign, and Brate's production was stunted over the past 2 seasons for Rob Gronkowski's presence, but he still produced around the same amount of receiving yards and touchdowns as he did in the 2 seasons prior to Gronk's arrival. So is that a possibility? I think, look, if Gronk retires, to me, I think you have to retool that position somehow. That's where you draft or possibly pick up a free agent. You have to pick up a free agent at that point. I like Cameron Brate. I think O.J. Howard will be moving on. Excuse me. I do. I think he'll be absolutely moving on. So that's interesting in itself. According to ESPN, Mike Caldwell, the Tampa Bay Buccaneer inside linebackers coach, according to Jeremy Fowler, is moving on. In fact, he's going to be the new defensive coordinator for Doug Peterson and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Caldwell has spent 15 seasons as an assistant coach in the NFL after spending 11 years in the league as a linebacker with the Eagles, Browns, Cardinals, Baltimore Ravens, Carolina Panthers, and Chicago Bears. So there you go. There's a Bucs loss right there. Now, coming into this situation, you thought you were going to lose a Byron Leftwich. You're not. You're going to keep him. You thought you were going to lose a Todd Bowles. You're not. You're going to keep him. So basically, your coordinators are intact, which I think is good news for Bucs fans. Just saying. Roger Shue says, 85 Bears defense, greatest of all time. Well, the Ravens would have something to say about that, I think, from 2000. And again, I will put the Bucs defense up against anybody. That's including the 70 Steelers teams. In fact, if you compare the statistics, they're on par with that Steelers defense. They are. The only thing they don't have compared to the Steelers is Super Bowl championships. Why? Offense not good enough to get it done. That's the reason why. Defensively, consistently, that 10 years, awesome. From 97 on, awesome. Absolutely awesome. It's a shame, only one Super Bowl out of it. Of course, you could say the same thing about the Bears. Only one Super Bowl out of their run. Bucs' first Super Bowl was one of my favorite moments in life. It was for all the suffering Bucs fans over the years. Agree with that. We talked about the Kyler Murray stuff. Again, going back to what Ian Rappaport had to say, he's kind of distanced himself from everything. There's basically just 2 pictures on his Instagram. The season didn't end like he wanted. We know he's up for a contract extension in the offseason. Everyone's frustrated in Arizona about how it all transpired. A season that had so much promise as far as film. Word on why he deleted everything. I reached out to his agent, Eric Burkhart, who did not comment. So nobody knows at this point, but you would assume that with getting rid of everything on social media and unfollowing the Arizona Cardinals, he wants out. So we'll watch that situation. We'll see how it plays out. Who knows? We'll be back maybe after the Super Bowl here. Definitely catch me on Friday night on the Over-Under with my buddy Harry the Greek, who will be hosting. I'll be co-hosting. And we'll be getting you ready for Super Bowl 56 on 1252 Chicago Sports. And then who knows? The Sports Web may be back that night at the end of the game. Definitely tune in. Let me read this last comment, and then we'll get out of here. Leftwich and Bowles are not head coaching material, period. And I think you're lying. Because they absolutely, in my opinion, are head coaching material. That's the reason why they were interviewing for coaching jobs. So with that being said, thanks to Denis Phillips of ABC Action News. And of course, all your phone calls and comments. Like I said, we may be back after the Super Bowl for a post-game edition of the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Catch it here live on I Love St. Pete, the hub. And like and subscribe to the Sports Web on YouTube. 3 things here on this late Wednesday night. Once again, thanks a lot for tuning in. You ready? Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. What time is it? It's my time, and it's your time. Have a great night.
Dan Arthur here for the I Love St. Pete Facebook group. If you're a business owner looking to connect with tens of thousands of potential new local customers, you owe it to yourself to get enrolled in our Key Tag Rewards program. Since 2019, we've signed up more than 200 local merchants. Sponsor opportunities are available too, such as our group banner ad and even your own custom key tags. Just go to stpetekeytag.com, get enrolled, and get ready to get busy. stpetekeytag.com.
Come to Sam Ash for hundreds of exclusive holiday deals on music and sound gear from the most iconic brands. Save big on professional and starter guitars, drums, digital pianos, horns, violins, DJ, and electronic production equipment. Supercharge your home studio with deals on podcasting, streaming, and AV equipment like speakers, microphones, headphones, and acoustic treatment. Plus, with 36 months no interest financing on thousands of items, you can get the gear of your dreams right now. From our incredible selection and service to our lowest price guarantee for over 95 years, real musicians know you only go to Sam Ash.
BetUS.com. If you guys are betting on the games, whether it's NFL, NCAA, of course, you're not going to do that now. Maybe basketball, not football, but of course, the NHL, NBA, go to BetUS.com. You get a 125% sign-up bonus. And also, if you use this code right here, the promo code of TSW22, which, by the way, stands for the sports web, TSW22, or call that number 1-800-69-BET-US. Again, 1-800-69-BET-US, and put in that promo code TSW22, and I would really appreciate that.
I've had 27 beers spilled on me. Make that 28.
I've only got one place to go before the game.
BetUS.com.
Sign up at betus.com and get the best bonuses in the industry.
Merry Christmas. Say, I love football. Say this. Say Tampa. Bay. Bay. Tampa. Tampa. Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay. Say Tampa. Bay. Bay. Oh my God, she's so smart.